So I'm back here at the Gogmagog Hills and we are in the butchery part of the actual farm shop, and today we're going to be talking about thrift cuts. Is that right, Charles?
Yeah, absolutely. We thought we'd come back to the butchers for a change, and have a look what Marcus and Miles have got on offer here.
Yeah,
the whole idea of thrift is quite interesting. I think in the last few years it's become quite popular, where people are getting used to eating and dining out and using much cheaper cuts.
Mm-hmm.
So I think basically Marcus and Miles are going to take us through a little bit of that today, and show us here. We've got a lovely lamb in front of us.
Yeah.
And perhaps you can show us a little bit about that, Marcus.
Fantastic.
All right. First thing to say about thrift and using cheaper cuts of meat, one is because they're cheap, which is great,
Yeah.
but the main reason for using them is they're actually really, really tasty, as opposed to that's just an economical way of cooking. It is an economical way of cooking, but there is so much more flavour, so much more potential, and so much more variety in these cuts of meat that I think a lot of people have got lots to discover and be quite excited about. For example, we've got a lamb here.
Yes.
Now, we've spoken about lambs before, different roasting joints, and so basically there's the lamb leg, there's the lamb shoulder, and there's the saddle of lamb, which is your kind of really tender bits. Now, we all know those bits, fine. There are, however, bits that kind of get forgotten about or missed off, and these are basically the extremities.
Okay.
So, the front end here, we've got the lamb neck. Now, this doesn't look particularly nice as it is. This is it's quite red and it looks a bit bloody, but once it's been trimmed, cut into slices, you can quite happily slow cook that. Cook it for hours and hours and hours in a slow cooker. Makes a really, really good curry. I mean, yes, you've got to pick the bones out and things like that, and that kind of puts people off. But just a little bit of extra work can make a big, big difference. That's super cheap. The thing about these thrifty cuts, these extremities, is you can't get them everywhere.
Okay.
Some butchers, most butchers should do them. Some supermarkets will do them, but you have to kind of go looking for them a little bit more.
Okay, so you have to go and ask.
You have to go and ask, yeah. I mean, because by definition, they're being the extremities, they don't really often look as nice. They don't kind of come across very well in a packet.
Yeah. Do you think because we've become used to the other cuts, they're more commercial, I suppose, and people are more likely to...
Absolutely. And also, people get in the habit of cooking the same thing or buying the same thing.
Yeah.
Chicken, for example, yeah, everyone buys chicken breasts.
Yeah.
We actually, as a country, we import chicken breasts and export chicken thighs, chicken legs, which is ridiculous because chicken thighs and chicken legs are by far more flavourful. So much more easy to cook because you don't have to worry about them kind of drying. Chicken breast, I hate cooking chicken breasts because I always dry
to
out.
get wrong, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah, every time. But people think for some reason that chicken thighs are really fatty and really bad for you, and all that, which is nonsense. The other cut, which is often forgotten on a chicken, is chicken wings. Hugely flavourful, and they can be a little bit more fatty because they've got more skin, but there's so much more flavour. You don't have to eat loads and loads. On the lamb here, we've got the neck.
Yeah.
Which is takes a lot of cooking, but you've got the bone and things in there. But don't be afraid of things on the bone. Bone gives so much more flavour and helps with texture as well.
But do you think a lot of people would think, right, okay, the neck, but what could I actually do with it? Is there enough information about how to cook
There is
thrift cuts of meat?
A lot of these cooking different things is quite fashionable at the moment, but there still isn't a lot about on these other cuts. Mainly because everyone buys the same old cuts, therefore people make recipes for the same old cuts. Trying to have a different variation with the same things in your shopping bag.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes it might be nice to put something new in your shopping bag. So yeah, I mean, I've made a very, very nice, well, I think it's nice, lamb curry, and that's simply by just frying some neck on the bone still. Don't have to worry about getting the bone knife out or doing anything complicated like that. Just frying it, a bit of colour, a few onions, a bit of colour, a can of tomatoes, chuck it all in the slow cooker. Next morning, you can just quickly, obviously wait till it cools down a little bit, and you just pull out these chunks of bone. It takes it's a little bit messy, but it's quite fun. And then what you're left with is just super amounts of flavour, so much nicer than even a shoulder of lamb. Really, really easy. The only difference is it takes a bit of time, but that's just waiting around. The actual cooking it only takes minutes.
Yeah.
So
it's just being prepared the day before, get it.
Yeah, a lot of people say I
going.
haven't got time to do slow cooking, which is just nonsense because it's actually much more quicker.
Easier as well.
So much easier. I mean, Miles, you cook a lot in your slow cooker, don't you?
All the time, yeah. It's just, you put it on, go to work, come home and it's ready.
Yeah. People also associate kind of slow cooking with winter food, But you don't have to. It doesn't have to be the case at all. I mean, you can do. For example, we've got here. This is called lamb breast, which
Yeah.
doesn't look particularly nice again. Normally, that's just trimmed off. It's basically the equivalent of, if you think of pork, be the belly of pork. So, because you know it's belly of pork, you know it's going to be a little bit more fatty. It's going to have rib bones in it, and it's going to be slow cooked. So you can cook that in the same way you'd cook pork belly. So you can do a slow roast or something like that.
Yeah.
Or we do, actually I went to an Indian restaurant and they did it, which was cut the ribs,
Yeah.
put them on a nice kind of Indian spices and just do them on the barbecue and have lamb ribs. So cheap, so much cheaper than pork ribs, which are really cheap. So yeah, it's just another way of doing something a bit different.
So explore the other cuts of meat, the thrift cuts, because you will get more flavour.
Definitely.
And don't worry about the fear of having not cooked it before, because it might take a little bit more time, but the benefits will be there when you actually
Yeah,
eat the meal.
absolutely. And it's just putting that time in, as in the cooking time, just to rather than money. So you can either pay for something to cook quickly, or you can save money and cook a long time.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you very much.